Hi everyone, so we as Group 7, our group's topics is small and medium-size enterprise in the informal sectors are making the correct returns risk decisions. On countries, I will introduce and explains what is the informal sectors. My teammates will have an in-depth studies of topics. The informal sectors is a part of an economy that is neither taxed nor monitored by another forms of government, unlike the formal economies. Activities of the informal economies are not included in the gross national product and gross domestic product of countries. So the informal sectors can be described as a green market in labor. Another concepts which can be characterized as informal sectors can include the black market, the ignorance and systematics. Associated items include under the tables of the book and working for cash. Although the informal sectors make up a significant portion of the economies in developing country, about 41% in 2000, according to the official GMI's metric. It is often cited as troublesome and unmanageable. However, the informal sectors provide the credible economic opportunities for the poor and has been expanded repeatedly since the 1960s. As much integrate the informal economies into the formal sections is an important policy challenge.
I'm Ye Feizhen. I will talk about who are SMEs in the informal sector and its positive and negative impacts. The SMEs in the informal sector are small and medium enterprises who operate in informal economy with no taxation and regulation. It also can be described as a sector of the small and medium enterprise who work as gallery market in labor. The SMEs in the informal sector make up a significant portion of economies, especially in developing countries. The SMEs in the informal sector helps the SMEs avoid regulation and taxation. It lowers the operating cost of SMEs, and the SMEs can use more income to employ talented people and buy more advanced equipment, which is good for the development of SMEs. Besides, it's easy entry for the employee who wants to work in the informal sector of SMEs. It promotes employment for the local uneducated people. However, the informal sector of SMEs hidden from the state for tax, social security, and labor law purpose, and operating with an unreported employment. There is a risk in the informal sector of SMEs. It decreases the tax income of government, and the government may do not have enough funds to support the development of economy, and it may causes the accident of personal safety because of the poor construction buildings and equipment in informal sector of SMEs. It's hard for the SMEs in the informal sector to make the correct written risk decision because of its informality and unprofessional employees. Thus, it's important to integrate the informal sector of SMEs into the formal sector.
Now we are talking about examples of a small and medium-sized enterprise in the informal sectors. SMEs in the informal sectors in the national economies occupies a significant promotion of its roles in promotions economic development, especially in developing countries. For example, the employees in the employment sectors of some SMEs when employee staff is very formal, no employees educated and possess relative experience. Even without right interviews process, you can induct your staff, although it do not. For some educated people who are good, can promote employment, but where there are some problems in this informal employee certain. The numbers of the employees are as well as another relative information is not reported to the government, but staff did not cross response pensions, insurance, and other safeguards, even wage reach the national minimum wage. No professionals, low quantities of the staff levels lead it too hard to make the correct return risk decisions for the small and medium-sized enterprise in the informal section. And there's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of statistic that on the informal economy. And in developed countries, the largest part of the informal work, around 30%, is self-employed wage employment, predominates. The majors of the informal economies workers are women. Places and the development affecting the informal economies has thus a distinctly gender effect.
MEF I will talk about why they make the correct written risk decision of the SME in the informal sector. Making the correct written risk decision is important for the SMEs in the informal sector. According to Security Market Line, there is a possible relationship between the return and risk. The arm of the SMEs are getting more returns and control the risk. Correct return risk decision will identify possible risks within the business structure, assess how to handle them, and prioritize those functions within the businesses and increase the return. Risk control within SMEs enable the organization to operate more efficiently and avoid possible minor and major setbacks. The correct return risk decision of SMEs in informal sector is truly important to the daily function of the business and the leasing of possible disasters that can occur. It is helpful to cut costs during tough economic times. In conclusion, this presentation introduced what is the informal sector, who are SMEs in the informal sector, and analyzes some examples of an SME in the informal sector, made a discussion about why are they making the correct return risk decision, the SMEs in the informal sector, promote the development of economy, especially in developing countries. But it is necessary to integrate the informal sector into the formal sector because there's many negative impacts which influence the regulation of the government. Making the correct return risk decision is important for SMEs in the informal sector. It can bring more returns and lowers the risk of the SMEs. Thank you. Our presentation is over. There's a problem of our group presentation. We try to contact to the other two group members, but they don't have any response. So there's only two people to do this presentation.